Assalamu alaikum, Brother Yahya. How you doing?
Alaikum salam to Abikatu. You look
How's
well.
everything?
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, you do too.
Hanging, inshallah. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum, Dr. Habib.
Wa alaikum salam. How's Dawood? How you feeling?
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum, Yahya.
Alaikum salam to Abikatu. Alhamdulillah.
Sheikh, I heard you talking to Brother Frank. Shall we wait for him to try to sign back on, inshallah?
He can hear us. He can't. He just can't see.
Okay.
Yeah, he's having a problem. I told him that I'm on my phone because I can't do it on the computer. I just really don't know how.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like from that school of I'm trying to learn.
Yeah. Do you have the app downloaded
Somehow.
on your computer?
I had it on my computer, but it's just, everything is different on the phone and the computer. The phone is a little easier for me.
Yeah,
But
it's hard with this pandemic because you need somebody who can physically be there with you to walk you through it the first time, and then it's easy after that.
that's the whole problem. So
Yeah.
But the easiest,
What you say, Hodge?
no, I was going to tell Yahya the easiest way is to send a link to your email and then open up your email on your computer. Then it should open it straight up.
That's right.
Send a link from your phone.
I have the link.
Yeah,
I have the link.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just that I don't know how to navigate to get the sound and everything. It's just a little different. So
Yeah, so if you send a link to your email address and then open it up in your email on your computer, you should go straight on through.
Yeah, Hodge know about that stuff too.
I understand what you're saying. I'm just saying that once I get in, it comes open, but then I have a problem with the sound, like what Frank is having with the sound, and it's just I didn't grow up with these, man. I'm learning it, so inshallah, I use it on my phone. If I can, alhamdulillah, so.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Frank is back. Alhamdulillah. So,
Frank is back?
Yep. Should I go ahead and start? Oh, there you go. You see his picture
Yeah,
too.
I see him.
Yeah.
It looks nice where you are. You on an island somewhere?
Somebody fixed. They fixed it for him. Assalamu alaikum, Frank. You can see us now. Alhamdulillah. Okay, that's good. That's good.
Sheikh Ameen, I know you're ready, right?
Huh?
I know you're ready.
For what? To start the class?
Yeah.
Huh? Yeah. I've been ready. I've been ready.
Alhamdulillah.
I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be able to maintain this enthusiasm, but I'll do my best. Okay, you can start though.
Okay, Sidi Ishaq, can I go ahead and start? You started the recording and everything?
Yes, sir. Bismillah.
Okay. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد الفاتح لما أغلق والخاتم لما سبق ناصر الحق بالحق والهادي إلى صراطك المستقيم وعلى آله حق قدره ومقدار العظيم أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وأزواجه وأمهات المؤمنين وذرياته وأهل البيت كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد اللهم إني أسألك من كل خير سألك منه محمد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك منه محمد النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما أسررنا وما أعلنا وما أنت أعلم منا ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار اللهم إنا نعوذ بك من فتنة المحيا والممات ومن فتنة القبر ومن فتنة مسير الرجال ومن عذاب النار وسوء المصير اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد ورضي الله عن أصحاب رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الشيخ أما بعد السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Welcome everyone to our weekly Maliki Fiqh class with Shaykh Ameen Abdul Awal. My name is Brother Habib Rasul Miller. They call me Dr. Habib because I got this little doctorate, but you don't have to call me that. Just call me your brother. And I'm very appreciative and thankful for the opportunity to be here with y'all and to be with Shaykh Ameen. This class is brought to you by Nasrul Ilm America, philanthropic Islamic organization that promotes that does various humanitarian activities and also promotes Islamic learning, primarily through this program, and other programs that before the pandemic we were bringing some of the ulama from West Africa, from Senegal to come every year. But alhamdulillah, this has been, I would say, probably our most consistent effort in this vein. And so we pray that Allah Ta'ala reward Shaykh Ameen, who is our teacher, for agreeing to provide us with this class in a unconventional way, doing it via Zoom. Normally this, and having studied with Shaykh Ameen, I know that normally the way he teaches this classes and the way the ulama all over the world teach these kind of classes is you sit with them. And there's a different kind of exchange and a different type of blessing and a different type of learning that happens in person. But we feel that, because of the pandemic, the circumstances, we wanted to have an opportunity to benefit people in their homes. And because of the knowledge and experience and the barakah of Shaykh Ameen, and inshallah, hopefully the sign of Allah accepting all of our intention, that alhamdulillah, people are benefiting from this online. So we're thankful to Allah Ta'ala, and we're making dua for Shaykh Ameen and his family. And I always encourage all of you to make sure you remember Shaykh Ameen and his family and his teachers in your dua. This is one of the things that we owe to our teachers. Shaykh Ameen, he don't ask for no money. He don't ask us even to do a lot of khidmah. When he goes out and feeds the homeless people, he says, if you can contribute. If you can come. But he's gonna do these classes regardless, So the least that we can do is make sure that we remember him and his teachers and his family and everyone else who helped make this possible. We remember them in our dua. For people who are maybe a little bit new, I like to every now and then kind of go through this. We are studying the subject of Maliki Fiqh, of course, and we are studying from Shaykh Ameen Abdul Awwal, who is the person who has been learning and teaching Islam according to this Maliki tradition, the Maliki school of thought, longer than anybody else in this country, anybody else in this part of the world that any of us who study the history have ever heard of. I'm a historian of Islam in America, and I can say that with conviction. His teacher, the renowned scholar, Dr. Suleiman Dunya, rahmatullah alayhi, the Egyptian Azari, who was the head of the departments of theology and philosophy at Azhar, came to America in the 1960s, and he dedicated himself to teaching and empowering this burgeoning community of Muslims in New York City, mostly working class people, mostly African American people, and sacrificed a lot to make sure that we have this line and have this knowledge among us. Shaykh Ameen was and is his top student in this country. Also, I want to let you know that we are studying information taken from Ashar as-Saghir, which is the highest level or one of the highest level authoritative texts in the Maliki Madhab around the world. They use it on the graduate level teaching at Azhar University. If you talk to anybody who studied, at Azhar, anybody who studied the Maliki Madhab on a high level anywhere, they know Ashar as-Saghir by Shaykh Ahmed Dardir, who was a great scholar who lived in the 18th century, who was a righteous, pious man, who many miracles are attributed to him as he stood up to tyrants who were trying to oppress the Muslims in Egypt at the time. He was, like Dr. Suleiman Dunya, a scholar of fiqh and theology and tasawwuf, or spirituality or spiritual cultivation. And Dr. Dunya, rahmatullah alayhi, came and taught from this book this information to Shaykh Ameen. And so what we have now is a strong line, a strong silsila, a strong isnad of learning from someone who's among us, who knows our condition, knows our situation, and can give us hikmah along with the knowledge that he's given, give us wisdom about how to apply it. So that's all I want to say. And I'll also mention that for people who might be new, the dua that I do in the beginning of every class, I do Fatiha, the first surah of the Quran. I do Salatul Fatih, which is a blessed prayer on the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And then I do the dua that I learned from Shaykh Ameen, that you will learn from Shaykh Ameen if you haven't already. Inshallah, we keep coming to these classes that we do in our salah, right? And then after that, I did a short dua that some of the sheikhs from Senegal do before they speak in public. So this is what you're hearing. And inshallah, without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Shaykh Ameen, and I encourage everybody to pay attention, to take notes, and the dua I make for us all is that Allah help us to understand this information and to implement it in a way that's pleasing to Him. Bijay Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So without further ado, I'm going to turn it over to my teacher, Shaykh Ameen. Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Ameen.
Alaikum salam wa barakatuh. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وتابعين لهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي وأزواجه أمهات المؤمنين وذرياته وآل بيت كما صليت على إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. And about so, Ajib, are you in the audience there? Any of you see him being attached to the class now? Okay, so please make dua for Ajib and his family. And then, you know, we're going through quite a few different little things that you know, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make it easy. Also, say it again.
No, I just was saying Ameen to your dua, Shaykh.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Also, I was going to tell you that Ishaq was asking a question before this class started, a very appropriate question for the time. And I wanted to answer that question first off, because it's something that I think about all the time. And I want to share some of this with you in regards to our position as Muslims in America, and you know what is expected of us from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the question, Ishaq, can you tell them your question again?
Yes, Sheikh. The question was, how do we advise Muslims and others who put up Christmas trees or who agree with homosexuality and the like?
That's right. Very, very appropriate questions for this period, because what I've been noticing is that as time has gone on, the question of homosexuality especially has become it's different now. When I was a young guy, they say it was in the closet. Now it's so that if a person sees it or hears about it, or you know that, and don't feel like comfortable with that, they call him homophobic. And that's not and that's a term meaning that he don't agree. So, you know, time has changed to the point that the homosexual people are the most popular people in this part of the world at this time. Very popular. You know, people in power, people of position, you know, obviously these are people who don't believe the story of Sodom and Gomorrah. They call it tales of the ancients. That's what the Quran says. That people who don't believe in these things call them tales of the ancients. So, you know, they act as if they understand this better than anybody else, and that, you know, it's all good. So, you know, we have to exist in this society to some point. And we're not advised to start a war with homosexuals. or with Christians or anybody else who practices something outside of what we as Muslims do. So the lesser of the evils in dealing with these type of things is to hate it in your heart. That's the lesser of the evil of these type of things. And if you're in an area that is so predominant with things that you disagree with, my advice is to move to a different area if you can, and try to live in a place where it's more Muslim people, more people who follow the same ideology that you follow. Elijah Muhammad called it separation, a separation. And I have to agree with him that in order to formulate a good area for protection of yourself and your family and your ideas and beliefs, you should live in close proximity if you can to like-minded people. Some technicians, some people that are technically involved in warfare would tell you, that's not the best thing to do, because it makes us stand out to the point where all they have to do is point in that direction and they'll hit us. But from an Islamic point of view, we should live in closer proximity, and we should monitor our areas. If a homosexual goes in your area, you don't have the right to, like what we did as teenagers. They wouldn't come in our area because they get beat up. We had a bad outlook towards dealing with that. That was before Islam and its laws and rules became known to us. So I don't advocate that people do that, because even Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam did not advocate beating up on homosexual people, and he didn't agree with that. But he did agree with keeping them away from your population, Nowadays, they outnumber, they are the population. So all you can do is try and safeguard yourself, your family, your extended family, like that. But we don't have the right to take the law in our own hands. So, the least of these things is to, in your heart, if you don't like it in your heart. As far as the Christmas things are concerned, I had an Arab person tell me in the masjid, he owns a store and he gives away Christmas candies and stuff like that. And he was in such a rush to get back to his store because he said that, he had the people was waiting to get their Christmas candy. And I said, you're kind of advocating something that Islam don't believe in regards to this Christmas. He said, it's okay, and we in America, and we should be friendly with the people and so on and so forth. And I got the impression that he probably was a person who had a Christmas tree in his home. So unfortunately, you're gonna find many people who come to this country. They come to this country and you know, these are things that were in their consciousness, in their hearts before they got here. Some of the reasons they came here is to have the freedom to do anything, because this is not a sanctioned Islamic country. So, you know, people come here and do basically anything they want. That's the whole idea of America, is that, you know, everybody's free to do whatever they want. So my advice to anybody who's here and have the ability, you know, they don't like what they see and what they have to deal with, they have to try to find a better place to raise their family that maybe they won't be touched by this. But this homosexuality is rampant. It's the floorboard of the country. See? So I'm saying this now. Maybe I'm going to get a knock on my door, and from the people who advocate homosexuality, and they will think of me as the tyrant and the bad guy, whereas, you know, they're not following the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You know, so if they would do that to a prophet, make a problem for him, of course they're gonna make a problem for me or you or anybody else who thinks that they are, you know, their word is bigger than the word of the people who want to be homosexuals. For your my exact information to you is that it's considered as unlawful. What they say, haram alayk, on the highest level of unlawful. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran calls it an abomination. I don't care what anybody in society says about that. You know, that's something they want to participate in. They have the right in this country. Because in some places in Africa, you know, you wouldn't want to be caught being a homosexual in those places. In any case, I hope I gave you some kind of information. Just remember where you are. You know, you have to know the law. Remember that, you know, the law is in protection of people who do differently than we do. You know, we have no class here that allows us to give direction to the people. You know, the Imam Shamsi, he talks a lot about these type of things in a nice way that, you know, he's very good at that community relations. And I give him a lot of credit for being able to deal with that. I'm not so good at that. Things that I don't like, I just don't like it. And I'm not afraid to say I don't like it. And, you know, whatever. I'm old now, so I figure I'd put in most of my years. But, you know, there's other ways to attack this problem, but there's nothing that we can do in a country that advocates for that type of thing. Even when Obama became president, he did some questionable things. I always liked Obama. When he became president, I was in tears. I was so happy. But he made some blunders as far as I'm concerned as a Muslim man. And that's that he allowed himself to be pushed into different situations that if you don't believe in it, you know, I don't care what the politicians or anybody else think, you know, it's a matter of faith. You have to stand up for what you believe, but you can't take the law in your own hands. You can talk, you know, like you can speak out against something you don't like. That's another part of America. See, just like it gives them the ability to talk about whatever they want, it gives us the ability to do the same thing. See? That's one of the things about the laws in America, is that they protect them They protect us too, inshallah. In any case, in regards to the Muslims who do the Christmas trees and things like that, bad mistake. That's hypocritical. You're saying one thing on one hand, I'm a Muslim, and on the other hand, you're saying, but I'm a Muslim, but I'm going to practice some of these other people's ideologies. You know, it's very hypocritical, and it gives it has a bad outlook, a bad look for the Muslim people. Just like so many things that the Muslims are saying with their mouth, I'm a Muslim, but with their actions, you question, what is he? See, what is he? This leaves a bad impression to you, to your family of Muslims. It leaves a bad impression that your kids are seeing this, and they'll, of course, adopt that same attitude. So yeah, it has no good in it. If you're not a Christian, or you're not a person who wants to do Christmas, don't do it just because other people are doing it. You know, be strong enough. You have to learn to stand up for what you believe in. In any case, I hope I answered your question to some point. But remember, you don't have the right to attack people just because they have a different idea than you have. That's not the proper way. You know. Okay, Isaac, did that help any at all?
Yes, thank you, Shaykh. Thank you.
You're more than welcome. It's unfortunate, but that's the position the Muslims are in this country. Some places they have it much worse. Some places, the governments attack the different organizations and Muslims because they consider us as being, making too many problems for the social order. Which means, look, what it means is that as a Muslim, you're not supposed to just eat anything, just accept anything. You're not supposed to do that. If there's something that you know that there's different kinds of wrongs. There's the wrong that belongs to man's law. And then there's the wrong that belongs to the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of God. The man's law, what is wrong, you can argue, maybe that law will change because man changes his law. Man, see, he don't keep a consistent legalities. He changes it. Whatever is convenient, whatever works for them at the time, they just read another law and they put that into effect. But the law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is different. The law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is always the same from its inception until the end of time. You will not find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to ever change his idea about homosexuality. He don't care how many presidents and emperors or whatever you are, how many dynasties try to change that situation. He will never change that situation and say it's acceptable. So it's a matter of who are you? Do you believe in God? Do you believe that, there's a retribution for this action? Or do you believe it's the stories of the ancients? Huh? So it becomes a personal thing. personal. In any case, for the Muslims, it's what's called haram alay. It means the biggest type of wrongdoing by the nature of God, by Allah, not by his nature, by his description of what is the nature of man. See, I don't care how many professors and, you know, different people, even now, they've told me the Pope is sanctioning homosexuality. So, you know, it's a faith judgment. It's a faith judgment. Do you believe what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala say? Or are you still want to participate because that's what you want to do? Okay. This is a subject I could talk about a long time because, you know, my teacher also was like that. When it came to this subject, he saw something coming that we didn't really see. Now I see what he saw coming. See? In any case, Allahumma salli wa sallam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. I was talking about this Adha and Qadr, these times of prayer. Adha time is the time in which you're allowed to pray in any part of it without blame or punishment. The obligatory time, now that first time I talked about, that's called the optional time, which you have the option. You can pray now or you can wait. The obligatory time is the time that when that time comes, if you haven't prayed the prayer before that time comes in, you are ordered that you have to pray it now, unless you have some type of excuse that, you know, it doesn't give you the ability to make your prayer at that time. So they asked a question about why the prayers are divided into these parts. The optional time of prayer is the time in which you can pray in any part of it without any blame or punishment. A person would have said his prayer in its proper time. But the earlier the prayer is said in the optional time, the more rewards the person will receive. The obligatory time is the time in which you are not allowed to postpone your prayer without a valid excuse. Once a person understands these things in regards to the time of prayer, they should never have a problem about their prayer time again. You know, unless they just want to make their own rulings. We don't allow, you know, Islam doesn't allow us to make our own rulings once Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has set something in place. So they ask the question, suppose a person has an excuse that remains after the obligatory time. And then this time, the obligatory time is not incumbent on that person. He will not be asked to do the prayer at all. However, if the excuse was removed before the overdue time, either in the optional or obligatory time, he is asked to make up this particular prayer until his death. So, what they're saying there's a time in our life where sometimes we get to a place where we don't have the ability to make our prayer. It would be hard for me to describe that time because a person who studied this subject for many years, I know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will accept a prayer from a person who can't do all of the ritual movements. Even if he only can make attention in his mind, and he's incapacitated on a bed or something of that nature, or on the ground, but he can move his head or move his finger or move his eyes to symbolically, show that I'm making my prayer, that this prayer will be accepted from him, because he tried to do something to show I'm making my prayer. But what they're talking about is, different things that can happen to a person that, he's incapacitated to the point that he can't do anything like that. And so he may get better later, and they're going to want to know, do I still owe that prayer? So the fact of the matter is that if, in fact, the situation that keeps them from being able to make that prayer lasts until after the time of prayer is gone, that legitimate excuse means they can forget about that prayer. They don't have to think in terms of making it again. But it has to be something legitimate. It can't be, I just didn't feel like making it right now. Well, okay. Let's say a person goes to sleep. When he goes to sleep and he wakes up, even if he wakes up 10 years later, the prayers that he missed while sleeping, he owes those prayers. That's not a legitimate excuse for do I owe prayers. You understand? If he sleep all year, when he wakes up, he owes those prayers. You don't have no excuse. Sleeping is only an excuse while you're asleep. Okay? But once you wake up, you gotta make your prayers. Sleeping is not an excuse. See? Okay. Shopping at Macy's is not an excuse. Even while you're doing it. This is why, in the earlier years when the Muslims had more enthusiasm towards their prayer and they weren't afraid to show who they were, you would find, when it was prayer time, wherever you were, you may find Muslims praying outside and, publicly. So if they were shopping in Macy's and, it was time for the prayer, they didn't just not do the prayer. They would do their prayer and then go back to Macy's and finish their shopping or whatever. I always thought that was one of the major things in regards to standing up for what you believe in. That, the Muslims didn't care about the people around them, what they thought or nothing. When it was time to make your prayer, wherever you was, they would make the prayer. But here again, you can't do it illegally and think that nobody's going to say anything to you. So you have to be sure that the area that you're using to make your prayer in, somebody's not going to try and attack you and tell you can't make that prayer here. You got to get out. It's not like other countries that have Islam as the primary, religion. As soon as they see you, somebody may come and join you in prayer. And, before you know it, you may have a congregation in prayer because, it's normal in those societies. But here it's not like that. And so they may tell you that making your prayer in this area is illegal. and want you to move. So you have to be able to differentiate that the people who protect this area are protecting it, but they don't have any idea. They don't have any idea that Islam is not something, the prayer is not something the people need to be protected from. So, they just get paid to make sure that area stays clear. Nothing there to make a problem for the people coming in and out or whatever. So, you have to respect that, because if you don't, they don't care how much you yell and scream, I'm a Muslim. It doesn't have any power when there are papers that say you can't do so and so here in America. Now, if you disagree with these things and you have the ability, then maybe you should run for office, public office, where you can help to make changes. My teachers say if a Muslim can become president of the United States, that's a good thing. See, because he can fight for change that would benefit the other people who want to do right. Very awkward position we're in here, but not as bad as people in some other places. In some other places, they just chop you up, chop your head off, cut your arm off. Violence against Muslims. We don't really have that. Not like that. Okay. Anyway, let's say a person is insane, and he's insane during the optional time of Dhuhr and remains so until the overdue time. He will not be responsible for Dhuhr if his sanity returns during the overdue time. Allah will not say to him that he has to pray Dhuhr. However, if his sanity returns during the optional obligatory time, his prayer becomes obligatory upon him. He will be responsible for it in front of Allah on the day of judgment. So let me see if I can help to clarify this in a way that the average person will understand. Let's say that a person have some situation, something happens to him that it disturbs his mind to the point that he can't function properly normally. So he's confused. He can't pull it together well enough to know that he's making his prayer, because the niyyah, to have the right intention to make the prayer and the ability mentally to follow what is necessary to consider yourself as making the prayer are two of the things that make your prayer acceptable to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But let's say if that happens and the overdue time comes, you're not responsible for that prayer. But let us say that the person takes some kind of pills or drinks something, alcohol or something that, staggers the mind. Well, that person is going to be responsible for that prayer until the day of resurrection, because he did that to himself. He did that. He put himself in a position where he couldn't make his prayer. So whenever he turns to face Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's going to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, you shouldn't have done that. There's no excuse for putting yourself in a position where you can't make your prayer. So he gonna hold that prayer until Yawmul Akhir, to the last day. Okay. I'm gonna stop here to give you the chance to ask me any type of questions you want about this particular subject. Okay? So I'm gonna just stop for a minute or two and let you gather your thoughts. And I believe that Dr. Rasul always tell you to write it down and try to post it so that he can tell me. Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh Ameen.
Alaykum salam wa barakatuh.
One second, Muhammad. I'm sorry, Shaykh. I'm kind of in a pickle, but so I'm sorry. You'll hear the boys in the background, but inshallah, their mom.
MashaAllah. It's okay. Do what you got to do.
Alhamdulillah. But we do have a couple of questions that people have already posted. Someone asked, "What is the protocol when a Muslim is offered a gift by a company or business associated with the holiday?" So, like, I guess, and sometimes companies will give Christmas gifts or something like that. Should you accept it, or what should you do?
Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. This is a matter of the constitution of the person. What is the person about who was offered the gift from the company or from whatever? Is he going to use that as a means of dawah? Or he's going to forget who he's supposed to be and just take the gift? So, let me see if I can explain. The way I was taught is that our duty to society is to try and wake up the people around us to the best of our ability whenever we have the opportunity. So the Muslim person, the sincere Muslim person, will say to the company, I appreciate the thought that including me in that Christmas spirit, but I'm a Muslim and that's one of the holidays, Christmas, Easter, we don't do anything with that. We don't comment, we don't talk about it, we don't send happy greetings from it, none of that, because we don't believe in that as a theological thing. As a theological thing, we don't believe that Isa alayhi salam, that's his birthday, and even if we did, we wouldn't celebrate it in that way. So they have preconceived notions that we should try and check. You need me to do something? That they should check to make sure, and we should try to check it to make sure that they at least get the right idea on what is right. Not just follow because some big corporate person said, we're gonna celebrate this day as if it's a religious holiday so they can sell more products. In any case, it's an act of faith. Just like I told the person who worked in the grocery stores, and they wanted a job, so they took a job in a place that was selling beer and cigarettes and wine and whatever, pork. And then when they asked me about it, when I would go in the different places, and they said, Sheikh, let me ask you a question. And I would tell them, well, Islam would give you a small amount of time to try to find something different. not to stay in this place and give acceptance to that action, because you know when you're here and the people, you know, they know your name is Abdullah, Mustafa, or, you know, whatever, and you're supposed to be a representative of Islam. And if you don't say nothing, what they say, silence is assent. That means that if you don't say nothing, you accept it. That is right. Silence is a assent. See? So this is an action of faith. I would go back. I find that the ones who are the real Muslim type brothers who just, you know, they wound up in those jobs, you know, because, you know, they came to a country that they ain't realized just how everything was. But once they realized, oh, this is all haram stuff, I can't stay here. They, you know, then they got the word from somebody who understands the rules. They got up and left. Whereas some other brothers who came from the same place, they never leave. You go back a year later, they still there, cutting the ham, selling the beer, you know. So it becomes a personal war that you're dealing with, of faith, personal war regarding your faith. Who are you? What do you represent? In any case, you know, I would suggest you use these times to give dawah, you know, to explain to them why, as a Muslim, you know, I'm not going to accept your Christmas gift. But I appreciate you trying to, you know, incorporate me as a person into the company's system. You know, I really appreciate it. But no, it's not something that I'm allowed to do as a Muslim. And you flip it and you put it back in its right place. We are people of faith. We don't just follow because other people are doing something. This is what makes Muslims stronger. Makes Muslims stronger because of our faith and our conviction. See, this is why in the early days of warfare in Islam, the enemy, after a while, they started to recognize that it would take so many of their men to take down one Muslim man. You know, after a while, they lost their strong conviction. They would rather not have to do this if they could get away with it. So, you know, we have to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is on the side of the believer. And the stronger your conviction, the stronger your faith, the better you're going to make out, both in this world and the next. So we know as Muslims that life should have different things going to happen to us in life. It's okay. Because these are the ways that a Muslim get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The main thing you should remember Job. Remember Job. In world history, Job is always pointed to as the person who suffered so many things. But instead of him becoming a crybaby and talking about how everything got messed up for him, no. He became closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in his problems, with his problems. Until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he said to the shaitan, A'udhu billahi, you see, nothing you could do will shake his resolve. So I want you to really, you know, this is a good question. But it's like so many other questions that come out of this one. It's an act of faith. What are you? Who are you? And what do you really believe? Okay, as you like. I think Dr. Rasul is not present.
Oh no, I didn't hear you, Sheikh. I thought you were on pause or something. We do have one more question, and everyone, please, type your questions in the chat or raise your hand if you have other questions. The next question is: what if a Muslim is invited to a Kwanzaa celebration? I'm assuming everybody knows what Kwanzaa is, a non-religious sort of Afrocentric holiday. If you're invited to a Kwanzaa celebration, what should you do?
So my teacher was very thorough in regards to explaining these type of things. Is that if the thing is a God conscious thing, and the God consciousness that they are dealing with is different than what we understand from Islam, we avoid it. But if it's just like if it's not God conscious, like if it's Afrocentric or something, but it's not talking about your God. I don't know enough about Kwanzaa to tell you exactly what is included in Kwanzaa, but if it's anything different than La ilaha illallah or Muhammadur Rasulullah, we should not, participate. I don't get the impression that Kwanzaa is one of those type of things. It's not like Easter. It's not like Christmas. Kwanzaa is more about basic social values, not so much religious values. In any case, Muslims have to learn that life is not about happy days. It's not about the next celebration, always the next celebration, always trying to find something to celebrate. MashaAllah. I'm trying to give you a heads up that, the way we treat religion is not exactly Islamic. It's like we're following other people's value systems on religion, and we try to compensate for that by, doing things like that balance what the Muslims do and what the other people do, by doing sort of like what they do. In Islam, we have we have Eid al-Adha. We have couple of different things that, actually we come together in large numbers. We make sacrifice. We make extra prayers, extra zikr than we normally would do. But it shouldn't be like the party atmosphere. We're trying to make always the next celebration. That's why you find people, you see them doing a time of celebration, but you don't see them all year. Some of them, they have no idea what to do when they go in the masjid. So it's like they're taking this from the infidels, that happy days. You gotta do something to compensate that the Muslims don't have too many happy days. Like when this is why Muslims have to stay with Muslims more. So I can't understand exactly what Frank typed, but we're gonna let him have his talk. Okay, so look. First of all, we don't have girlfriends, right? As Muslims, we don't have girlfriends that we hanging around with, because as most men know, if you hang around with a girl that's she's your girlfriend, you're not married, eventually you're gonna want to have sex with that woman. See? So sometimes, if you make a friend like that and it's around Christmas time or a birthday, and she says, don't forget, my gift, and you tell her, yeah, but I'm a Muslim, I don't give gifts like that for that time of year. That's hypocritical. She's gonna say, well, how is that possible? You use that excuse so you don't have to give a gift. But as far as I know, they don't even have boyfriends and girlfriends in Islam. So it's like, some people use what they want to use and leave what they want to leave. I'm telling you, to try to be a good Muslim, first know the law and then try to follow it. Okay, let me hear Frank's question.
Well, he typed a few. So I asked the ones he typed. Ooh, Ibrahim, you okay? I asked the ones he typed it, and he can clarify, inshallah, if need be. He asked about Thanksgiving and anniversaries. I think he means wedding anniversaries and New Year's, those 3 holidays. And then he had a question about nafil prayer, but maybe he may want to ask that one separately.
Okay, let Frank ask his own question. Go ahead, Frank.
I was asking about number one, Thanksgiving, especially when in this country, and also I'm the only Muslim out of my 10 brothers and sisters. So it's I have to walk on eggshells with that, with anything, Christmas. But I was wondering, what about Thanksgiving for Muslims? Are we allowed to celebrate that?
Well, actually, Allahumma salli wa salam mubarak ala Sayyidina Muhammad. Many people will disagree with me about this, but my teacher said that Thanksgiving is for the family to be together. It's not a religious holiday. It's for the family to be able to at least once a year all come together and see each other, and maybe give the Muslim person an opportunity to talk to some of the other people in the family, and some of them who may have had some questions about why you a Muslim or this, that, and other. He will have the opportunity to talk to his family members. But Thanksgiving itself, according to what he told me, is not like a day. It's not a day for religious stuff. It's more for family stuff. And he said that we should try to treat our life as if for the family stuff, every day is like Thanksgiving, especially for our parents. So he didn't find too much of a problem with Thanksgiving. He found the problem with Christmas and Easter. Big problem with those, because they represent some things that the Quran directly talks against. That's Isa alayhi salam being the son of God. And they make this a big talk during that time period, that so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he finds that as a terrible way to talk about one of his prophets as if they were a god. Anyway, I hope I helped you. Mm-hmm.
What about an anniversary? My wife and I celebrating an anniversary, and also New Year's.
Anniversary, like you mean, you've been with your wife for 20 years and like that?
Yes.
Well, you know, Frank, most of the things that are not God conscious things, Islam don't get involved in that. If that's your private affair with your wife, I'm so happy. I thank Allah for sending me my wife that I've been married to for all these years, you know, and I want to give her a gift to let her know how much I appreciate her. Islam don't disagree with that.
But Muslims have their own calendar. So is New Year's considered off base for us?
Say it again.
Muslims have their own calendar that started when the Prophet moved to Medina.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
the Islamic calendar.
Do we not celebrate New Year's here?
See, this is the problem. When you say celebrate, it gives a different understanding to the word celebrate. Like this. When the Muslims say they have a new year, they don't sit up and say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Happy New Year, and then have champagne. See, we don't do that. So this is what a problem I've been trying to explain is that, you know, we can't follow the social value and try to incorporate that as if it's a part of Islam, because it's not. So when the Muslims talk about a new year, they're talking about it from a perspective of dawah, like, you know, to explain when Islam started, how it started, and so on and so forth. We're not talking about, oh, another year that we'll have opportunity to make more money. And, you know, it's two very different things. And this is why the Muslims don't include themselves in that whole philosophy, because they'll get lost. And this is why the ulama, you know, they never prescribed some special kind of happy day for the new year. None of that. You know, if anything, you may have somebody sit down and discuss, you know, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during that period of time in his life, you know, and explain to people from a historic point of view, something like that, but not celebration, happy days. No, that's opposite of what the Muslims do.
I understand that, and I don't celebrate any of those, but you run into just all throughout the day people saying Happy New Year. Do we return a greeting or Merry Christmas? What do we say? How do we return?
I don't even know how to explain that, Frank, because, you know, we don't know what they mean. You see?
That's
we
just
don't. You mean the infidel when he says Happy New Year?
No, I mean, if I go buy a cup of coffee, the person who sells it to me might hand it to me and say Happy New Year.
Oh, I understand now.
Or Merry Christmas. Or
for the sake of brevity.
Yes. Yeah.
For the sake of brevity, because you can't, in a society that everybody's going to do this basically the same thing because it's the habit of the people of that society. You can't spend your day as you go to buy a cup of coffee. Now you got to explain to the person why Muslims don't do Merry Christmas. You don't have to do that. You see, you can tell them, thank you, have a nice day. You know, whatever you want, but you shouldn't have to spend your day and your time, you know, trying to right everybody's misunderstanding. No, Islam don't ask you to do that. That's impossible. It's more of a problem for you than anything else. See?
Shukran.
Yeah, have fun. You don't have to even have to acknowledge that. Be Scrooge. Happy Christmas. Okay, as you like.
My last question is, do I have to say an ikama before a nafu prayer?
No. Nafu prayers with, oh, you mean ikama?
Ikama.
Do you have to say iqama? That's what you
Yeah.
mean?
Yes.
No. You don't have to make anything before you say Allahu Akbar for nafu prayers. So look, lady contacts me the middle of the night. She must have been making up prayers. She contacted me. I was like, what the heck? Who's calling me in the middle of the night? Because so I recognized the name. So I said, oh, I'll answer this because they never do nothing like this. So it must be something of extreme importance. So when I answered the phone, they go, Shaykh, if we miss the nafus, but she didn't call it, she called it sunnahs. If we miss the sunnahs, do we have to make those up? So, in my mind, I'm like, put myself in her position, and I'm like, oh, she's probably tried to fix her prayers back, from the course of the day. And it came into question in her mind, do I have to make my nafil prayers also? So, no. The nafils, they're not like you don't get chastised for missing nafils. Nafils are for our benefit to give us some rewards, some help in regards to, maybe we didn't do something else properly and we try to make our nafils and Allah will give us benefit from them. But they're not what they call fard. They're not like something that if you don't do it, you owe that. You see, you don't owe nafils. Nafils, So no, you don't have to make any special dua or ikama or anything like that for nafils.
Shukran.
Afwan. As you like, doctor.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykh. We have another question. Someone asked a question for a Muslim business owner. If you're similar to what Brother Frank said, but now you're the Muslim business owner in a position of selling a cup of coffee or whatnot, is it okay for you to return the holiday greetings or to give, say, happy holidays to your customers if you know it's their holiday that they're celebrating?
I would tell the business owner not to follow that example. I would tell the business owner that, he gotta practice what he preach. If you're a Muslim, you can't just be a Muslim at some time and not Islamic at another time. So if you're a Muslim, you gotta be Muslim, try to be a Muslim all the time. Don't be a hypocrite, because now's the time that you're gonna have more customers that you want to try to be more friendly and happy with the customers. So you saying Merry Christmas and everything to them, so you can make more money. What kind of Muslim person are you? That's not the way of a Muslim. Muslims don't even really, we need money to buy food and stuff like that. But, at what price glory? We're not going to, just because, we got a business. And this is what the guy was telling me. They're waiting for their Christmas candy. I'm like, well, brother, you sending the wrong message. Because, if they know you're a Muslim, and here you are telling them, happy, what was it, Halloween or something, and take candy, and it's like we're in agreement. It's like the Muslims are in agreement with that. That's false advertising. So yeah, I would tell a Muslim owner, to be a Muslim, man. Don't just flip back and forth depending on what other people do and what the society likes. If you're gonna be a business owner and be a Muslim, be a Muslim. Actually, whatever comes to you come from Allah anyway. It's not because you say Happy Christmas or something. It's whatever comes to you is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow you to have or not have. See? Once we really understand that, then we know just be a Muslim. Because all this other stuff with the public and what they do or don't do, that's meaningless. That doesn't serve us any purpose. We want to be good with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Even if he give us hard times and we don't get no extras and stuff, or we have to struggle, but that's what we're here. We're not here to have happy days. We're here to try to get to the next part of our life that will go on forever. And we want to be able to, when we meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, be able to have a good, clean look, good face, stand up and say we are who we are. See, this is big, man. It's a matter of faith. So this is where a lot of us get lost in this dunya, because I've seen people, they be one way and then they get a new car and their personality change. And I'm like, how's that possible? The vehicle, that's not Allah. That's just a tool to help you to do better work for Allah. It depends on how the person sees his position, his ability. But it all comes straight from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's not you that make the money. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that give you the ability to do that. See? And the person who think that they making a lot of money because they some kind of business genius, that they know how to follow the patterns of society that will help them make more money, they are mistaken. they thinking of themselves like a doctor. A doctor will think, because they have a certain amount of doctor education, that they're like, higher up than other people. That's not true. As a matter of fact, they got more doctors that's being sued than anybody for mistakes that they made, because they think they are exceptional because they had a certain amount of time in school. That don't make them like they God. They make a lot of mistakes, See, they have destroyed a lot of people's lives. So, don't get lost in all this dunya stuff. It's in the iman, the faith, the belief. Okay. As you like, Dr. Habib, I have to stop now.
Okay, no problem, Shaykh. Thank you so much for everything, and I just want to say thank you for the advice that you gave today. I'll say very briefly to the class, Shaykh Ameen gave me this advice maybe I don't know how many years ago, 10 years ago. And what I found is when I went into the university and I had a lot of people who were not Muslim, people who were homosexual, all of that, people respect when you follow this advice and you hold fast to Islam. Allah send people who have that lifestyle to defend me in my practice of Islam. So when you hold fast to your Islam, then the people respect that, and the people will give you the room, and Allah will send people to defend you. But when you wishy-washy, and you one day you care about Islam, the next minute you scared you're gonna make the people uncomfortable, then you don't have a leg to stand on. So
that's right. Absolutely right. Absolutely, 100%. And you never know how much the people are watching you. See, they watch you, they test you. What's my teacher say? People act like they got all this faith because they're not in a position where they get their faith tested. See? He said, let something drastic happen to them and see how much faith they have. He said, let them be walking down an alley, back alley, and a door opens, and some half-naked woman comes out the door saying, hey, come here, let me talk to you. How much faith do you have? Are you going to say, A'udhu billahi, get out of here, and go the other way? Or are you going to go, yes, no, what's going on? You understand? So. Muhammad, what is Muhammad doing?
No, that wasn't Muhammad. Somebody else. No, that was somebody else that wasn't on mute.
Oh, okay, all right.
Alhamdulillah. They've been behaving themselves.
They've been really good today. Alhamdulillah.
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 Muhammad was asking about you the other day though, so we have to.
I wish I could come in. I wish I could visit with Muhammad.
Inshallah, soon, Shaykh. Inshallah.
But he know I love him, so that's that's the major thing. You know, he got support besides his immediate family. Okay, so if that's enough for now.
I believe so. I typed a little message in the chat for anybody who wants to contribute to the midnight run or the other things that we collect for. And also just reiterated what Shaykh Ameen said, please keep Sidi Ajib Abdul Salam, our president, and his family in your du'as. They're going through a little bit of trial right now. So please make sure you keep them in your du'a. But that's all we have, Shaykh. Sidi Ishaq, did you have any announcements?
No, I didn't have any announcement. Thank you, Shaykh Ameen, and thank you, Dr. Habib.
Thank you, Shaykh. That's all we have.
اللهم إني أسألك من كل خير سألك منه محمد نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم وأعوذ بك من كل شر استعاذك منه محمد نبيك صلى الله عليه وسلم اللهم اغفر لنا ما قدمنا وما أخرنا وما سررنا وما لنا وما أنت علم به من نار ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسن وفي الآخرة حسن وقنا عذاب النار اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الماء والممات ومن فتنة القبر ومن فتنة مسيح الدجال ومن عذاب النار رسول المصير وصلى الله عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وسلم تسليما كثيرا. السلام عليكم.
Walaikum salam. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you again, Shaykh.